Hey, let me introduce you to everybody.
Okay.
I'm talking today with Christopher Shayne, Arizona native. I'm gonna try an attempt of genre. I call it blue collar classic rock with
Yeah,
a
we'll go with
southern
that.
tinge.
Yep.
Uh, he's just released 7-song EP called 10 High on Carry On Music. Came out January 22nd, available on streaming platforms and Christopher's website. And we'll handle where you can find Christopher on the internet. But yeah, just to describe your genre that you created here, Chris.
That is yeah, we've been trying to figure that out too for a little while because we kind of me and Dave, my other writer in the group, he plays the lead guitar. We kind of started in heavy rock, right? So we got some of those elements, and then when we wanted to just do something different, we started looking at country and southern rock and all of that stuff, and so it kind of just melded into this weird. We're saying like Americana southern rock is kind of where we're basing it out of, but it's got a lot of elements of everything else around it.
Yeah, it really does. And some of the bands that reminded me of are like Shinedown,
Yep.
Blackstone Cherry.
Hmm.
But I see this big surge, especially in the younger kids. I've talked to a lot of younger kids, Red Voodoo and Austin Moe up in Sacramento.
Hmm.
They're they want to bring back that classic rock.
Yeah.
And you're right in there. I mean, it's I get a lot of stuff hit my desk, and try to give everything a quick listen. If I,
Hmm.
if I listen to it all the way through, I'd never never leave my desk ever.
Right.
um so I stuck it on, and Pour the Bottle was there, and I
Hmm.
was like, "Oh, you're right in my wheelhouse." I was just blown
Right.
away, completely blown away. And I responded to Amanda.
Hmm.
I just said, "Yeah, this."
One of these, I'll take that. Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it has that kind of it hits you right in the face. I mean, it's just
Hmm.
really powerful stuff. um your voice is what really stood out, really rich tone.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's just amazing. Have you had formal vocal training?
I've gone in and out of vocal training. I've done enough to know what I'm doing incorrectly. I'm always still trying to figure it out a little bit from kind of playing with it, seeing what I can do. Especially with this latest one was the first time that I've like really kind of played with some more like actually pulling back a little bit and seeing where that kind of tone is. But yeah, I've gone in and out of training. I should probably do more. I should always do more training of everything, but you
Oh,
know,
we all should.
yeah, exactly right.
No, but it's amazing on this record. And
Thank you.
I got it, and I think it actually on the one sheet on the press release it says debut.
Yeah.
And then of course I found Turning Stones,
Right.
and
Right.
a Broken Scarred EP. uh
Mm-hmm.
Turning Stones from 2015, I believe.
Yep.
um and this is a seven, that's a full record.
Right.
You released it independently.
Yeah.
uh Now you're on Carry On Music. Is there an advantage to, obviously with the label there's a little more financial backing and things like that,
Right.
uh but are there drawbacks to being on the label as opposed to releasing independently?
Um, it's always it's I mean, especially now, everything's a give and take. A lot of the first record and the Broken Scarred that followed it was us kind of planting our flags in a million different places. You know what I mean? Like maybe we're this, maybe we're this. We're still trying to figure it out. And um because for a while there, what we are is not what everybody's into. I mean, everybody has their favorites, but I mean, on a large scale thing, it's kind of hard to see that exploding. And there's been Greta Van Fleet and those kind of bands, but it's hard to kind of get that vision together. And then Carry On came along and they said, we just want you guys to be you guys. And so there we talked about, what does this mean? What does this mean? And it worked out great. They're letting us be the artist we want to be, letting us be the thing that there's no more questions anymore. Like we don't have to sit there and live and die on our own sword. There's a lot of second guessing, especially when you're independent. If something doesn't work right, you have to sit there and go, okay, what did I do wrong or whatever. And now there's a bigger team, so we could sit there and we can actually strategize more instead of just everything is handled by us and the stress level is going to drive us absolutely crazy.
Yeah, no doubt. No
Yeah.
doubt. Your writing process. Tell me about your writing process.
So, it's actually been amplified this year because of, hey, we're all hanging out at
J-
home.
Yeah,
So me and Dave are pretty much constantly writing. We're going back and forth. And so we have our own thing where we just, do phone recordings, send each other stuff. Is this cool? Is this cool?
now where's Dave? You're not in the
He's
same room.
no, yeah, no, we're definitely not in the same room. He's on the other side of town. He's
Oh,
about an
okay.
hour away. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we're all located in Phoenix. So it helps, so we can all get our ideas together. But so for me and Dave, what we do a multiple different ways, but usually the way is he'll have an idea, I'll have an idea, and we'll just Pro Tools it up, do a quick this is what I'm thinking idea, and then we will send it to each other. I like this. Let's change this note. I can't sing over that, stuff like that.
Right.
What is your intention with this? And then we kind of flesh it out. And then we usually have a full song by then. And then we kind of go and hash it out in the room a little bit, see if it works live, because a lot of things when you're recording sound great in the studio. And then you try to get a band involved and it just falls apart immediately.
Right.
Um, so, but we're constantly throwing around ideas. I mean, the main thing I do right now is I just do like minute clips of songs that I have ideas for, a verse and a chorus or whatever,
Right.
and send that out to Dave. Is this cool? Should I keep working on it or should I just put this away? And, once he gives the okay or whatever, and same thing for him. He'll send me, the minute clip and be like, cool, yep, keep working on it. And then we'll go back and forth.
Cool.
So it's very in depth and it takes a while, but it usually results in some really cool stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
Um, I noticed the Billie Eilish cover.
Oh,
You don't strike me as a Billie Eilish fan, although I really enjoyed.
yeah.
You've kind of got me searching it a little more than I normally would. I've heard her before, but when you did the cover, I was like, let me see exactly what she's all about, and it's pretty cool stuff. It's different, it's
Yes.
so, and I can appreciate that.
Right.
Uh, but tell me how you came to do the Billie Eilish cover as opposed to an Aerosmith cover or something. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah. It's so literally it was kind of a writing challenge for us because what uh my manager kind of was like, hey, let's just try this. Cover a song that's been released in the last 6 months or something like that. And so I went to all the Spotify lists, started just cruising through them. And right now in pop and all that other stuff, it's a lot of drippy sounds, a lot of heavy reverb stuff, and I was kind of like, there's no real thing that I could put my flag on. So get to Billie Eilish, and I was listening to it, and I realized right off the bat, oh, that's standard blues format. That's 145 right out the gate. I've
Yeah.
played that 1,000 times. I know exactly how to play that, and it just kind of had this cool vibe to it. So, and then of course, then I just got obsessed with her, and so we started messing around. And originally, our producer manager immediately threw like told me no, and of course that just made me more angry. So I had to sit here and like tinker with it. And so I eventually sent it like, this is what it's going to sound like. It's going to be awesome. Let me do this. And they shut up immediately and just were like, here, go to the studio, get it done. So yeah, it was one of those. And then of course I wanted to be cheeky and change all the lyrics just because why not, you know? Um, which turned out to be big a big no-no in the music industry. We found out later. But so yeah, exactly. So we we after we dealt with that, we were able to release it. But yeah, it was a fight from the ground up to get that one to come out. And I'm glad if we were able to work all of it out because it's just a fun jam, especially that second half. I think that's my favorite solo that Dave's ever played. 'Cause it just goes because like the original has this drop beat kind of thing and it's cool and it's steamy. So I was like, what is our version of like the red light steamy version of that part?
Right.
Just did a blues thing and it turned
Yeah.
out like deep and oh, with
Yeah.
lighting and everything like that, it'll be fantastic. I can't wait.
Yeah, man. It's just killer.
Yeah.
It's really, really great. And
Thank
there's
you.
so much power to it, that you got that little guttural Rage Against the Machine kind of in there, and that's just, I mean,
Yep.
it's I have to keep saying to myself, this is a Billie Eilish song,
Yep.
So it was really I was super impressed with that.
Thank you.
Do you know if she's heard it?
According to what her people say, she has final say on whether or not you can cover her stuff. So I assume she
Right.
has. I hope she enjoyed it. She at least greenlit it, so like that's a
Yeah,
good sign. So
totally. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I would say that's a like.
yeah, yeah. I'll take that. I'll
Yeah,
take that.
totally.
Yeah,
She could have said no.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I want to call you a newer artist because
Cool.
I was just introduced to you.
Right.
But you're really not new. You guys you've been doing this for a little while with the
Hmm.
same core group, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you got
yeah,
a new drummer, I know, Eric Bongiorno.
yeah.
But the rest of the band, you've been together for how long?
Well, so if Turning Stones was 15, they were shortly thereafter. So they were, yeah, so about 5 years or so. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Because because when we did that first record, it was me, Dave, and the producer, and those are the only three people who are on that record.
Wow.
So we didn't even have a band. We didn't even know this was going to be a thing when we were making that record. This was all just like, I'm not done, but let's see what happens, kind of a thing. And
Wow. So
turns out,
that's where this comes off as a debut.
mhm,
This is really you and a band and a whole gelling thing. You know,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I remember Collective Soul releasing their things left unsaid kind of thing,
mhm,
and then they released the self-titled album, and they said that's their first album. And I was like,
yeah,
well, the last one was pretty good.
yeah, yeah.
So same thing with you. I love Turning Stones.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
But it's great to see that core band gelling and
yeah.
you
It's
know
it's that's the thing about these songs in particular that are on this one. It's it's us being in a room and jamming the song like that. Like my favorite part of the entire album is in the song 10 High when we're not playing anything and you can hear the amps humming. Like that's just my favorite part just because it immediately establishes, hey, this is real.
yeah,
We're not one piecing it every time.
yeah.
So that's what really felt cool about all of this was yeah, and it took a while, especially when you're playing with every musician, it takes a while to speak the same language,
Mhm.
and so now I know exactly when Dave's going to do something, when Zach's going to do something, when Mark's like we don't have to sit there and question something. We know exactly what we're doing on new stuff. It's just like, yep, that makes sense. Plop it in. You know.
Pretty great. That comes with talent, and it comes with
Yeah.
time. You
Yes.
know,
Exactly.
yeah, and
Yeah.
you've had some good time together. That's great.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
No, we're very lucky in the sense that we've been able to hang out with the talent that we have, and I'm really looking forward to because I'm listening to the demos and everything that we're doing now, so I'm like gearing up for the next thing already,
yeah,
and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
A
that's
lot of
cool.
fun.
Now you've had time with this group to play live together too before we got hit with COVID and everything.
Oh yeah.
So you did have some play gigs and
Hmm.
gel in that way because that's totally different
Yeah.
thing than in the studio, of course.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, especially when you're traveling and everything like that.
Right.
That's when you find out, do I actually like this person? You know, like it's one thing like, oh, I like the way you play. Oh, you're, a
Right.
jerk. So
Right.
we got lucky in that sense that, we can I mean, we'll drive each other crazy sometimes, but it's always just like, oh, I didn't get enough sleep last night, or whatever. We
Right.
we we usually try to keep those communication lines as open as possible.
Right.
So
One guy isn't sleeping and the other guy's wide awake. That's never a good combination.
nope, nope. And it's happened. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
we had one of our biggest fights was because a fly got let into the van, and we nobody would open up a window for the people in the back, so we had to fight that one out and yell and scream. It was very nasty for no reason. It was a fly. It was a
Right.
damn fly. Yep.
Yep. It's much like a marriage. I hear that
Yeah.
said so much, and it's so true.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you just gotta roll with it. You got to learn how to handle the group, and everybody's going to have their own little things, so you got to make sure you accommodate. And but I mean, luckily everybody's hungry for everything, so
Yeah,
it's always pushing forward. There's nothing that feels like it's going to ever hold us back, on
yeah,
that kind
that's
of front.
cool.
So
And I think that a lot of that hunger you say, I think that comes through in the sound too, like the buzzing from the amps and stuff like that you talked about. I
right.
like, I don't like things that are necessarily uh totally polished up,
Right.
totally clean, totally perfect recordings. I like that early Aerosmith type, dirty.
Yeah.
There's an error in there somewhere, or somebody missed something, or but
Yeah.
it's raw, and it's got a lot
we
of
were
feel.
because especially with what we're working on right now, I've been having a lot of that conversation, where I think rock is at its best when it's about to fall apart. There's that fine line of danger there that I think the best rock bands can walk. You Aerosmith and Guns N' Roses and those type of bands where you're just like, this could train wreck at a moment's notice, but for
Yeah,
some reason it's just staying right on. And I think that kind of tension in there is exciting to listen to. It makes what rock is.
yeah,
I think if you too polish it, it just, yeah, it doesn't have the emotion. I mean, if we're agreeing that rock comes from the blues, that emotion has to be there from the get go. So I think that a lot of that has a huge part of it.
yeah. And I think of bands like Def Leppard,
Yeah.
who I really like Def Leppard. I like
Hmm.
both bands. The first three albums and the next ones.
Right.
They're completely different for
Right.
me. Aerosmith, same thing. Early
Yeah.
Aerosmith, and then the polished, more
Yeah.
produced. Van Halen, same kind of thing.
Yeah.
I appreciate both of them. I like both of them, but
Oh
I'll
yeah.
always turn to that
It's
little more raw,
it's
edgy thing.
it's got to have that feeling in there. And because I'm a huge Aerosmith fan. And I think the later Aerosmith stuff has its own unique place only because their production level, and like all of a
Yeah,
sudden, I
yeah,
mean, that later Aerosmith stuff, there's nothing that sounds like that, and that is, you got to respect that. There's nothing that
absolutely.
sounds like those records.
And like Hysteria for Def
Yeah.
Leppard. I mean, it's just a beautifully produced record. I mean, it's just
Exactly.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
The songs are actually better than the earlier stuff.
Yeah.
But there's something about that little bit of hunger, that little raw youth angst in
Yep.
there that makes it special, lightning in a bottle kind of thing. It
Yep.
isn't perfect, and I think that's kind of what I like about it.
Yeah, I
You
think
know,
it's easy to be perfect now. It's really easy to
yeah,
be perfect, and I think um there's a way to kind of pull those parts out. I mean, even live, I mainly just because I'm tired of lifting stuff all day, I'm now going to a Kemper just because I just want to be able to just set it and forget it and move on.
Right.
Um, but it still comes down to, like, Dave has already said multiple times, hey, if we're going to start using tracks, I quit. So we either figure out how to play this in a room together or I'm done. It's like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
interesting challenge. Let's go. Let's see how we can do this.
And good for Dave.
Yeah.
I do appreciate a live band. I'd rather
Yeah.
hear a live band that's screwing up a little bit more than
Mhm.
a live band that's using tracks.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And
and
well, it's human, like
yeah.
if I'm going to a show, I'm going for the human experience, whatever that is. But that feeling where you have real people in front of you doing their thing and everybody in the crowd is with it, and it's just an energy you cannot replace.
Mhm.
It's palpable.
Uh,
When a band is steamrolling through a set, it feels like nothing else.
yeah. Yeah, and I miss it so much, man. I
Oh,
gotta tell you.
so bad. So
Man,
bad.
it is rough.
Mhm.
Uh, uh,
Yep.
what band? I mean, we've mentioned Aerosmith many times here, and I know that
Yeah.
was your first concert when you were, I believe, 9.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah, yeah.
is that where a lot of I won't say most, but a lot of your influence come from that kind of thing?
It kinda a little bit. That's where the, drama comes from, like because Aerosmith's really good at the hills and valleys and songs, they kinda take it direction. So that's where some of that comes from. A lot of the kind of energy and angst and everything like that, I harken back to like older blues stuff. So R.L. Burnside
Mm,
did a record called Ass Pocket of Whiskey, and I will recommend it every single time. And it's literally him and John Spencer Explosion, and they just hit the record button. And it's an 80-year-old blues guy playing the same thing he's been playing for the last 40 years with a punk band behind him. And it's one of the coolest things I've ever heard, you
that's
know?
awesome.
And it's just raw. I mean, you want to talk about raw? Literally, they hit the record button, and then let's see what happens.
Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think I get a lot of that because I play in open tunings because I that's how I learned how to play, just in that kind of blues tradition. Um, but I mean, it's kind of a hodgepodge of that, and then various things we're just happen to be into right now. We're all into ACDC, so it's starting to sound a little ACDC-ish. So
All right.
we're kind of going back and forth.
Cool.
Whatever
Yeah.
strikes up.
Yeah. I mean, and like I say, it's got that raw feel. It's got a lot
Yeah,
of soul to it too.
yeah.
Your voice is very soulful voice. Uh,
Thank you, thank
yeah,
you.
it was just a pleasure to hear, man.
Thank you.
I mean, I mean, I hear voices all the time, and
Yeah,
and they're good, and they play songs, and it's just there.
right,
That's why when I put this stuff on the EP, Pour the Bottle, first thing I heard,
right.
I said, this is different. This is
Mhm,
different. This stands out to me. This
mhm.
really is hitting me. And then it just
Thank
went
you.
on, and I was like, wow, sign me up,
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
That's
it's
huge.
really
Thank you so
great.
much. Mhm.
Um, I say the first thing I heard was Pour the Bottle, and it blew me away. What would you play? What would be the first Christopher Shayne song that you play for somebody that you think represents what you do?
You know what? I'm gonna probably I'll agree with you because Pour the Bottle just has it's a guitar muscle song, right? So it's kind of just like there it is. The only other one would be Give a Damn because that's the song that kind of started all of this. That was the first song we wrote as Christopher Shayne,
Cool.
and it is the song that was our big middle finger to everybody who told us no. You know,
Cool.
so as far as attitude wise, I would always go Give a Damn just because it's just pure, you know,
Love it.
F you.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just so cool. Um, Do you have a desert island disc? You know, one that you can't live without, one you go to pretty constantly.
Ooh, ooh, that's a good one. I am forever obsessed with the Them Crooked Vultures record.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that
Okay.
one. 'And I'm a huge Queens of the Stone Age fan.
Okay.
Just because I'm fascinated with how they make their stuff. But
It's really odd. It's
it's
really odd.
it is, but when you listen to, I'm still finding stuff. I was like, because when you're in the studio, there are accidents, yes,
Mhm.
but there is definite intention with most of that stuff in there. And so for me to sit there and go, okay, they meant to do that,
Right.
is just some next level stuff. The opening song, that last section where they're swapping the up and the down beat, where Grohl is swapping where he's hitting everything, changes the entire flavor of the moment and then switches back and does it constantly. Is I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with that record. It's one
Ah,
of my favorites.
that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Um, I noticed in Getaway Baby, you have the line, you could use a little bad company. I should say bad company. Uh,
Right. Yes. Yep.
but I, of course, being a fan,
Yeah.
took that as a little bit of an homage to the band. Uh,
Yeah.
and was I right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a little bit, because I like playing in lyrics. I like playing around. That's also where some of the Aerosmith kind of comes out, where I like having those kind of cheeky,
Yeah.
yeah, this means this, but also over here it's got a little shade of this. So yeah, no, that was definitely an intentional little thing.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I love that song. It's great.
Oh, thank you.
Um, the Hammond B3.
Yeah,
That is a Hammond. There's no doubt.
yep,
In what is it? Burn Me Down.
yep,
Uh, will we see more of that? It's
yep.
because I really think it fits what you're doing, as especially your voice. Because, like I say, it's very soulful. So
Mhm.
and I find the Hammond to be of soul kind of.
Yeah.
It's a deep
we
instrument.
we make a big point of, because Zach, he both plays guitar and does the organ. So we make a big point live of letting that Hammond shine. We had to switch over to, yeah, he's got his, digital Hammond now. We used to have the full thing. And
It's a
after a while we're
monster.
like, we can't keep this. Uh we're
That
gonna
is
we're
a monster. It's a piece of
Yes.
furniture.
It was a piece of furniture, and it was an insurance claim away from bankrupting us. So we had to like adjust some things, but he still has the huge rotary box and everything like that. So we do still bring that out when venues are accommodating. Um Mainly because we don't want to cause any issues or anything like that, especially when we show up with something that nobody shows up with anymore.
Right.
We don't want to confuse our sound guy, and all of a sudden our whole show is shot because he doesn't know what he's doing. So
Right.
we're just like, yeah, you know what, just we'll figure it out. But we do live, because I mean live is where we really feel we are that band. I mean, even Pour the Bottle, we cut out about a whole minute and a half of solo for the EP.
Wow.
So you're not even getting the full thing with the EP. And with the Hammond and everything like that, we do a big thing to make it a point. We almost have like a church vibe for one part, because we still, I mean, River Revival is always going to be one of those like favorites of ours. And so I make a big point, we have these speeches throughout, and I usually never know what I'm going to say prior to speaking, which results in some hilarity. Um, but it's a part of the band, and it is a flavor. If we're sitting there trying to get that southern flavor, that's one of those things I really wanted, because nobody's doing that anymore. That's something that we really wanted to bring back. And I'm such a big fan of it, and it fills everything. It gets us a nice floor, so every kind of sound can bounce off of it, and it just you feel it every single
Mhm.
time. So yeah, it's a big part of us.
That's great. That's great to hear because I love to hear more of it. I love that instrument, and like
Mhm.
you describe it as a floor. It really does sit underneath everything, and it's just this vibe that everything just sits on, and it's like
Yeah,
so cool.
it's that classic going to church feeling, you know?
Yeah,
You have that kind of it just fills the room with an energy, and, it's yeah, I love it. I love
that's
it.
cool. That's cool. How much do you have left from the EP? You say you're doing demos now for the next
Yeah.
thing. Uh, what's in the can? Do you have
Um,
songs ready to go?
yeah, we have, a lot to actually whittle through. We
Nice.
have 28 songs.
Oh,
We got
oh man.
and we're still demoing more. I think Dave sent me another one last night. So, we're going through a whole bunch, and there's demos out there that didn't make the cut for this EP. So, um, we are in the process of figuring out what we can do. I mean, even Just Get Drunk was not meant, the acoustic version that's on there,
Uh,
it was not meant to be the final form of that song. So the electric version will be making its debut on the next thing.
oh, that's
Um,
cool.
yeah, because that we were that was an acoustic demo, and it kind of just, as we were listening to it, it's like, oh, this is
Yeah,
emotional and deep and cool. So
it
throw it
is.
up there.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
it closes out the album. It's kind of it's a coming down kind of thing,
yeah.
in a cool
That's
kind of way.
it's that last song is always reserved for the dark moodiness.
Yeah, yeah.
Those classic records, that's when every artist would throw the "we didn't know what else to do with this, here you go" song. So I always loved acknowledging that, like, yeah, here's our weird thing. Enjoy.
Yeah, yeah, and I did, and I did.
Thank you.
Are you gonna keep doing? Are you gonna release singles? Are you gonna do another EP? Or you don't know yet? You fully,
Uh I think the next thing is an album. Obviously with COVID, everything's wishy-washy.
yeah,
But I think the next thing is an album. I know we have the three singles already ready to go for it, and we're trying to fill it up with another. I mean, yeah, it'll be. We have enough, and then I know a live record is coming down the pike when live is a thing again.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we're gonna really focus on that, and once everybody gets vaccinated in the band, I really want to sit there and fine tooth comb our live show a lot because I think now we have some tools. Our floor is built for what we can accomplish. So I think now I really want to start playing with the show part. Um, so
yeah.
I'm really looking forward to a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. Because I hear this stuff and it's got a live feel.
Yeah.
It's made for the stage.
Yep.
And I can't wait to see you guys, man.
Dude.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm
So
excited.
yeah, I want to respect your time,
Oh,
Chris. Thanks so much, man.
thank you.
Yeah. How can we see you on the internet? What's the website address?
ChristopherShaneMusic.com. We're on all the socials. I just had a meeting that we're on TikTok. So there, if you look for us, you will find us, basically. Yeah.
Pretty awesome. And that's Shane with a Y.
With the Y.
I go every time I go to spell it, I'm like, don't forget the Y.
It's oh my god, my manager hammers me. It's like when you say it, make sure you specify it's with the Y. It's like I got it.
I got
Yeah,
you, man.
Shane with the Y.
All right. Hey, bud, I hope you can come to the Chicago area. I'll be there and
Yeah,
we'll hang. We'll
absolutely, man.
have a good time, man.
Dude, once the floodgates open up, we're sprinting.
Awesome.
So yeah, absolutely, man. I hope to definitely see you soon.
Yeah, definitely. And if when you release the next one or you need any press for anything, you just let me know, man.
Dude, absolutely.
All
Yeah.
right. All
All
right.
right.
I appreciate your time, man.
Absolutely, man. Take care. Be safe.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.